shoots are getting popular, though, man. The amount of people that was at Oklahoma is insane.
So is it more? Was it more?
I didn't go last year. I was at San Antonio last year. Is it?
It was.
It's been practically sold out, but they had they had more courses this year, more shoot times. Like even like the Sitka, they always stopped it at 1. Remember that day we drove through or went back out? It was 2 something like that, and they were still shuttling people out.
Really?
They
And you know what amazes me? There's nothing at stake. There's no trophy. There's no money.
Just going out having fun.
You're going out. You're shooting with people. You know, there's that many people that have that much in common.
Saturday sold out before lunch on like the registration day. Saturday, like you buy tickets, it sold out before lunch or like 1 o'clock that day. Yeah.
But it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Utah's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a 4-day.
Yeah,
and it's sold out completely. You cannot buy a ticket for Utah right now.
How about that?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Like I said, they're more popular than a Taylor Swift concert.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
I don't know. Pretty in the archery world, they are.
I'd like rather go to that shoot than Taylor Swift. I can tell you that.
All right, well, boys, thank y'all both. You're no strangers to coming on this podcast. Again, thank you for coming on. But Richard, you got a pile of stuff, some aluminum, some carbon, and we're going to get into all that here in a second. But today I want to talk a lot about archery. But first, go ahead, introduce yourself. Most important man at the table.
No doubt that. But Richard Albritton, Spotted Dog Sporting Goods.
Yep. So one of the owners of Spotted Dog Sporting Goods. Michael, he's out probably at Bussy right now before his son's baseball game. He's either catching nothing or he's catching monsters.
Hey, look, he picked a good day too because there's no wind whatsoever.
Dude, and this wind's been ridiculous.
Dude, I don't remember the wind blowing this hard this long.
Yeah, it is wild. So again, thank you for coming on.
Hey, look, I appreciate it.
Yep. And then Mr. Zach Poole, Rafter P Custom Knives. What's going on, dude?
Oh, not much. Just glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you came back on.
You bet.
All right. Well, again, talking about archery, kind of what we want to get into. Got all kind of fun stuff. We have different arrows. We have some super awesome stuff of yours I'm excited to talk about. But we got bows. We got saddles, which we're going to do a whole podcast on and a whole fleet of plethora of videos on that. But the Buzzard Roof saddles. So
hey, we're excited to have him.
Dude,
we worked to deal with him. Look, good guy. Louisiana-made company. We're excited about it.
Yeah. So what makes you nerd out on archery? You've been working in the archery world for how long? 27, 28 years, something like that?
No. 87, 88.
Okay. It's almost 20 years.
It's closer to 40.
40 years.
Dang, you old.
Dude, I bought you your first pair of camouflage breeches, boy. Yeah, I'm old.
I remember y'all tell me about that story.
Yeah.
That's what we need to get on. We need to get old Johnny in here with us.
Oh Lord.
So,
but go 5 hours long.
So you've been going.
That's so fun.
You've been going for almost 40 years.
Yeah.
And then, but what real quickly, what got you into archery?
Baseball was my thing growing up. That's all I knew. I think the only reason why I ever went to school to begin with was just to play baseball. But anyway, a friend of my daddy that went to high school with him, he had a sporting goods store not very far from where we're sitting, and asked him if he wanted to be a partner. And it's called Brother Sportsman's Corner, and that started it. I knew zero. I had a Bear Grizzly 2 with a plastic stick-on rest. That's all I knew. Kill silver deer with it, but that's all I knew about archery. Anyway, it's that and baseball. That's the only thing that I ever levitated to, I guess.
Yeah. So what do you levitate to more now? Still baseball?
No, all of it's the same. Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. You just got better.
No, I'll never take that grandbaby. That's why I levitate.
Yeah. No joke. Well, so you own Spotted Dog. You and Michael, y'all own Spotted Dog Sporting Goods. Mm-hmm. But you are back there in the bow department, and you got people coming from all over the place coming back in there and asking all kind of questions. They watch YouTube, and especially probably guys like mine and your age, we watch YouTube or see something. And, you know,
I'm older than y'all. I watch YouTube every night.
No, you watch YouTube more than us. I don't doubt that. I'm referring to you have these young cats like us, are still wet behind the ears coming in, and we're asking the question, you know, like I ain't got a clue about arrows or nothing. You know, I don't hardly shoot a bow or anything, and I come in and, well, what arrow do I want to get the most FOC? You ain't no telling how many times you hear that kind of stuff, or you have people, I want a weight grain arrow, whatever it is.
Well, because of that YouTube, our customer that comes to see us, way more informed than what we used to be. Look, they're more informed than we are. They know something about the new stuff. You know, the first time we ever see it is if either at the ATA show or the Sports Inc. show, and that's in February. ATA's in January. Some of these cats know it way before then. I said, man, where'd you get that information? I said, we just found out yesterday.
Yeah.
Man, YouTube. I said, oh, they're way informed. So you can't try to sneak anything by anybody.
Yeah. That's good, though.
I think it's great. Look, all this, especially this arrow building thing, you know,
well, and
there's just no end to it.
It's helped hacks from being hacks. Like you know, you can find solid information out there, and it's taking out these guys that are feeding you just junk. It's kind of made them obsolete. And then you got guys like Richard that, you know their stuff. You can go to those guys and trust what you're getting, and they know they're informed on the stuff they're doing.
But bad thing about the internet, you can get good or bad information.
Facts.
And the consumer of that information, he's got to be smart enough to. It doesn't have to be smart enough. You can
definitely
trial and error.
You definitely got to vet your information for sure.
If it's bad information, how do you know? Well, you go get some of whatever they're pushing and try it.
It's going
to
show
didn't work.
up.
That's pretty bad information. But
and I think
we just try to keep people from spending too much money.
Well, you've been in the business 40 years, and I mean, you still have repeat customers for 40 years. I mean, that shows how good and knowledgeable y'all are down there.
Well, we've got a lot of repeat customers.
For sure.
But I'm pretty sure we rub people the wrong way, so we've got some non-repeat customers too, I feel sure.
Well, and I said it before, but one thing that I like is every time that you go down, like if you go down and you see him working with somebody, whether it's someone like me and you that shoot all the time or whether it's someone they picked a boat for the first time, you're taking probably way more time than what you really have of explaining things and showing people the ropes and getting their form right and starting them off right.
We want everybody not to shoot like us, because we shoot less than anybody.
Oh, yeah.
But we want everybody to shoot as well as they can. And I'm not saying we don't give bad information, but it's the truth as we know it. Mm-hmm. So we try to.
So what are some of those things from the bow builds to actual form? What's some of the things that when people come in, they come in, they want to buy that bow. They go pick out the bow. It's a bare bow off the wall, just a naked bow off the wall for whatever it is or whatever brand or model. What are some of the steps that you take into, into getting it where it's performing?
Well, some folks now, 75% of everybody who comes in to get a bow, they probably already have their mind made up.
Right.
And they're going to shoot the same bow that their friends or their family is shot. Matthews is a good example of that.
They're hardcore. They got a hardcore fan base.
Some people want a Matthews and couldn't tell you why.
Yeah. And
it's funny to watch it. Hey, but you say, absolutely, come on, let's hook it up then. I don't have a problem with that. But the person that comes in that doesn't already have his mind made up, you shoot them.
All of them.
All of them. Or, 2 or 3 brands anyhow, especially if you're talking about an upper end deal. But then after that, some part, either the draw cycle or after it goes off, or how it feels in their hand, how heavy it is, how light it is. Something in there is going to be different from one, not just from one company to the other, but from one model to the other. And they'll say, I like that. Well, let's go with it.
Yeah. So once you get the bow, once you get them where they're feeling what they want, what are some of the things? Not necessarily, picking out rests or sights. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. But what are some of the things you do on your end just to make sure that bow is performing at tip-top shape? We're talking about you got 3 different axes that a lot of people, they probably, until they come down there with y'all, they've never even heard of that before.
Well,
what's some of the things y'all do?
There's more sights with that first, second, and third. Well, there's a few sights out there that you can adjust the first axis, but more sights now than ever have second and third. And by the way, the air rest that you put on that bow, that's the most important. Look, the air rest is so much more the most important decision that you make, with the exception of your bow. Could be more important than your bow. You put the right air rest on the wrong bow, and it's still gonna look. Used to, we'd put a True Glow sight on there, had a level on it, and man, we'd had to get that level in the middle, and that sight most more than likely was not level anyway. But now you've got these string levels and other levels that you can get. Hamsky's got some really good stuff, and I'm sure there's other people that do just Hamsky's what we use. But I know y'all are big into the tech, Zach, and I know y'all are. It's really, really tough. Not that you really want to be competitive, but you don't want to lose a bunch of airs when you go. If you don't have a third axis,
it is horrible. I mean, especially like where you're broken bow, where you're shooting up and down a lot. It is horrible. You can have a horrible experience if your third axis is off.
And even in your second, and what a lot of people don't realize, you shoot and your pins are in a vertical alignment. They're straight up and down on top of one another. Not that the sight is straight up and down, but your pins are straight up and down on top of each other. And then your 20 is dead on. And then when you try to shoot your 30, you hit a little bit to the left. You try to shoot your 40, you hit a little bit further to the left than that. It's your axis. That's your second axis, really. And then, look, you get in that tack event and you get into some elevation and you get into some angles. And you're aiming extreme up or down. And that third axis.
The first year I went to San Antonio, I had a brand new sight and I did not set it correctly. And it definitely made for I figured it out by the end of the day, adjusting it. But yeah, I didn't set it correctly, and it was tough.
You went to attack a couple of years ago, and John Dudley picked your bow up, and the first thing he asked, he was looking down your string, and he was looking through your sight because you had trouble with something. I don't know.
It was my grip,
but that's the first thing he checked was.
Mm-hmm.
He said, who put this together? But before he looked at it, he said, Richard down there, Spot Dog. He just handed it back to you. He said, well, that's not the problem. Yeah. But that's the third axis. I mean, that's something when there's an adjustment there for a reason, and we check that on every one of them. Now, a lot of these sight companies, Spot Hog, which you have a boonie there on that one, but they're pretty much set.
Yeah.
Right out of the box.
So there's not much adjusting them like the stuff that you're getting these days is just like they're sending it to you pretty much ready to go.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I got you.
I don't know if they hook it up to something or they just know where to set it or what have you, but they do.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's like the tax-free weekend, just this past weekend, we were down there and the guy came in and was looking at the Ultra View, and either you or Michael won the Matthews Ultra View site. That's what y'all were talking about, though. It may have been Michael, but he went to check and he's like, "Yep, it's set, it's perfect." It's right back to it.
That's
Look,
awesome. That just saves y'all's time and money too.
Time. There's only 2 of us, and we can't do owner stuff because we still work, and time is
crucial.
Yeah, it is very crucial. And back to that, no tax, and I know you and I will get together and do something special for that, but there's nobody that's got customers like we got. Mm-mm. We've got the best customers. I'm so proud of the people that come through there, and we're appreciative. anyway, we want to thank everybody who did come. You know, people they come in there every time we have a little something we've never seen before, and they have a good experience, and we make sure of that. But anyway, that's something we'll talk about a little bit later.
Y'all have to be pretty good to deal with aggravating pests like me.
Oh no! We enjoy that, and don't take it for granted. We enjoy the back and forth, even if it's something we enjoy. If somebody comes in there and they don't agree with what we,
I do. I love that too.
Here we go. All right, so tell me why.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about that again here with these errors in a minute. But no, we don't mind that.
Yeah, I love it. That's why I buy all my stuff through them for sure.
So that's some of the things we're talking about. Just making sure your bow's set up properly. How crucial that is. We get that, but what are some of the changes? And Zach, you can chime in on this too. What are some of the changes that you see people make, or y'all had to make personally, when going in and stretching that distance out, getting ready, like preparing for TAC events, or like even me and you were over at Mississippi River, like Cottonwood this past year, man, we were slinging bombs out there. I mean, we were shooting a long, long way. So what are some of the things that you've got to...
Let Zach do that, because look, Zach shoots way under more than I do.
Man, to me, obviously the most, when you start getting long distance like that, the most important thing is repeatability. Like you have to be able to do the same thing over and over again. And that comes to grip, you know, peep alignment. Peep alignment's probably at long range because you have to drop your anchor point down. Mm-hmm. And there's people that'll hold their anchor point and then open their mouth to get that height. But when you're at 100 yards, your peep being perfectly centered with your housing is huge. Yeah. And I mean, because just say it's a tick high. I mean, you could be talking 3 or 4 yards at 100 yards being off, and at 20, you'll never notice a difference, or even 40. So peep alignment's a big deal, and just repeatability, being able to get the same grip, same pull, you know, you're making the same exact movements every time. And because it shows big time long range. Yeah. I mean, big time long range.
Yeah. So what bow are you shooting?
I got that RX9 Ultra.
Okay, same bow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got to ask, like I didn't know. We've been shooting together all the time. I stare at that, but it's the identical twin of that. Got to act like I didn't know what it was.
I love that thing, man. Yeah. It's definitely the best shooting bow I've had. Like, it's definitely cleaned my shooting up for sure.
So what are your thoughts on that versus like the RX8 Ultra from last year?
Well, I didn't have I did shoot the Ultra, and the Ultra felt bigger. Like even though it's just an inch bigger, it felt like this bow feels more of like a bow hunter's bow. Like the RX8 Ultra almost felt like more of like a target bow to me. So even that 1 inch to me made a difference. And man, just the speed that 9 has, it's ridiculous. I'm a 400 grain arrow, 28.5 inch draw, 76 pounds, and I'm shooting 312 feet a second. So I mean, it is pounding.
Dude, they have those cats.
At 60 yards, I'm 289. 289 at 60 yards.
That's a lot of downrange energy.
You dang right.
And he's talking about feet per second. The way Zach, and he did it for me too, but the way that he builds his sight tapes, what's the name of it? Is Precision Cut?
Precision Cut Archery.
Yeah. And so you just, essentially there's different measurements and all that kind of stuff that you got to get. But he got the Garmin Zero, little chronograph, looks like a GoPro or like Osmo camera. Put it right there in front of your bow, shoot it, and then you step back out at 60, and just put it under the target or like in front of the target and just shoot right over the top of it, and that gets your how fast your bow's shooting at 60
and
yards.
All it does is it takes out human error on sight tapes. You can't mess it up. Yeah. If you take the right measurements from pins to arrow or to pins to peep and then arrow to peep, I mean, you can't. It's physically impossible to mess it up.
And look, in the sight tapes that come with these sights, that's just a quick
start.
It's not
Yep.
It may work exactly perfect.
Well, 20 to 60, you'll never know.
Does not.
20 to 60, you'll never know. I started seeing it when I got past 60 is when I would be like 80 would be 3 yards off, 90 would be 5 yards off, 100. I mean, I think it was 8 yards off with another sight tape. So, I mean, you really don't see it too much because these bows are so fast from 20 to 60. But once you start getting past there and you start getting that arc, it makes a big difference.
I'm going to tell you something else while it's on my mind, too. You know, we were talking about the peep sight location in the string. Used to, when you had a fixed pin sight and your sight is fixed, but your pins are movable. You center up your housing, your head's in the same place every time, regardless of what yardage you're shooting because you only have those pins. That's as far as you can shoot. When you shoot long range, and back in our day, we didn't know any different. We figured it out finally, but we shot even smaller housings than what you hunt with. You know, that would be
I think that's a 41 millimeter.
and that's not, and that's small
It's like
to
a
hunt
medium.
with.
Yeah,
So- and
small
what
to
you
hunt
might
with for
think
sure. Yeah.
But our targets were, we had clear, the name escapes me now, what we used to use back in the day, but you just had one pin. And you try to get a small a hole as you could. But when you're shooting, you want to make sure you don't want to change your anchor point. Your anchor point, that's something that feels familiar. If you try, especially with a larger housing, if you can imagine, you've got a larger housing, one pin sight, and you sight it in, filling up your peep sight, centering up your housing with the circle of your peep. At 20, at 30, at 40, and in 50, you start noticing that you've moved that pin down a little bit. So now that housing is getting out of the center of that peep. Well, then you move your head and you center it back up in your peep. You just moved your anchor point. You moved your, what feels comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So what we try to tell people too, that when you put a movable, you kind of have to dissect this thing. So you've got a peep, and look, and what we know now, you don't need such a small peep sight to be accurate. Before, we thought it had to be really small, and back then maybe it did, but what we know now, if you can just put your housing in the same place in that peep, it's a lot easier to center up a big housing in a big hole than it is that little bitty pin in a big hole. So
I see what you're saying. Yeah, for sure.
So what you do, you've got to, and it's, I'm moving my hands too much, but you've got this big peep, and you got this housing. When you're 20, 30, 40, and you want to shoot at 100, there needs to be a gap at the bottom of your peep inside you need to sight that housing all the way up to the top of that peep. And then down here in the bottom, it needs to be slack. It needs to be a space. Then once you get down to 50, 60, now that thing now it's in the middle of your peep. And then when it's further, 100,
yeah,
you're going to have the same gap at the top as you did at the bottom. But you've got to shoot enough. And all the while, you never change your anchor point. You change that anchor point, and it is, there's a lot of things that go wrong.
Mm-hmm. And something I do to help with that a little bit is I set my peep with my roller at 60, not at 20. Like my housing will be at 60, and that's just because I shoot so far. So it's not such a big gap from between my peep height and my alignment from 20 to 100.
You start at 60, and where is it at 20?
Well, it's kind of like I would rather be more accurate with my peep height at 100 than I would 20, because 20 you just see so much less variance.
That's going to be another thing we're going to talk about in a minute too. Shooting at 100 yards, how important. Shooting at a long distance it's not as important. But if you don't take care of the little things when you're up close, that's when you really need to concentrate. You need to concentrate on that far stuff, but you can't take that 20 yard for granted.
Oh, for sure.
But these boys that shoot for a living, any variance, the other guy is going to tear them up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There is no variance. They've got their stuff dialed tight. I'm off just a little bit. It just cost them $5,000. They're wrapped up tight. But anyway, that's two things, two different ways to skin a cat. But anyway, Well, we went way out there on a limb.
No, I mean,
that's super like for long range, and even like you said, close. I mean, all of it. Peep alignment is super important.
yeah.
And you got to find your niche, but
I get what you're saying, though. You'd rather you shoot more at longer distance, and to you, it is more important for you to really hone in and to be absolutely comfortable and spot on at 80, 100, 120 or whatever. And so if you're going to be, I hate to call it uncomfortable, but if you're going to be a touch uncomfortable, you'd rather it be closer to that 20 to 40
There's
than
just
it
so
would
much less variance, in my opinion. There's just so much less variance. Like say it is a yard difference at 20, I can't shoot that out. Like I can't shoot a yard difference at 20. It's going to pretty much hit where I'm aiming.
Yeah. I get it. Like you said, it's more than one way to skin a cat. It absolutely
it is.
One thing you said a while ago, you mentioned something about speed. Does faster speed equal accuracy?
It equals forgiveness.
Okay.
I like that word.
But if you can't hold it, it doesn't matter if it shoots fast or not.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this,
I'm gonna get you to explain whenever you get through with this. Explain the forgiveness part of it.
Well, let's just talk about it. So the faster that arrow is, if you misjudge your distance just a little bit, you don't see it in the fast arrow as much as you would the heavier arrow, which is a couple of years ago, I wanted to shoot this weight forward, heavy, full metal jacket 340 with 75 grain up front with a 100 grain head on it. And I forget what my front and center was. It was
40%.
No, 15% maybe. Anyway, and I wanted to build that arrow. Well, if I would have gone to tack, I'd have probably cut my throat, because when you slow your speed down to say 200 and say, I think I shot 265 feet a second, and you're shooting 100 yards, and you're looking down this lane and it's wide open. That lane to your target, your vision, man, that's wide open. I can make that. What you don't realize is to shoot that far, absolutely. To shoot that far, your pin is way down, so you're raising your bow up and you hit all those limbs up in the top, and you just have it's a negative. I forget what the word is I say, but it's not good.
Yeah.
It's a negative return and not a positive return.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. That's right. That's exactly what it is.
And that's the Battle of Haley. I mean, and just like to show you feet per second, we're shooting 3+, and she's short, 23-inch draw. She's shooting, and we got it screaming 254 feet a second.
And that's fast.
But
that's real fast.
For a woman's bow,
what she does. That's
52
right.
pounds, 24-inch draw. But a lot of those shots at tack we had to make, she had to sit on her knee, like she had to kneel down to shoot because she wouldn't clear because she got so much arc in her arrow. So if you say you're shooting a 70-pound bow with just say a 550 grain arrow, and you go from say 300 or just say 290 to 250 or 260, I mean that's huge. That's huge on trajectory.
Do you shoot? Do you have a set of arrows you shoot tack with and a set of arrows you hunt with, or
it's the same arrows? All I did this year is for tack a 85 grain field point, and for hunting I'll go to 100, just for broadhead reasons. So I'm 400, so my hunting arrow will be like, what's that, 415? Yeah, so I'm still not. I mean, I'll drop from 315 to what, 290.
So your tack arrow is 400 grains. I mean, look, that's a great
398.
That's a great hunting weight.
Oh yeah,
that's a lot of energy. That's a good bit of momentum. Especially if you're shooting 289 feet a second at 60 yards.
Well, and if you want to get on like the weight deal, like Haley, she's 52 pounds, 24-inch draw. For whitetail, she shoots a 370 grain arrow, and she's killed, 15 deer with her bow now, and all but one was a pass through.
Yeah, but
she shoots them where you're supposed to.
Yeah,
accuracy's more than.
And she shoots a small diameter arrow too. Is it 5 millimeters?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that helps too.
Well, this is my tack. I did not want to go from like different arrows. I was like, I want to shoot the same thing. I want to go. It's nothing wrong with what you're doing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it at all. Me personally, I wanted to shoot the same thing. And I've shot the heavy arrows. And that first year I was pushing almost 5. I was up in the 470s or 480s. I don't remember. And then I went and I started shooting that it's actually that gold strike, that gold tip, or the airstrike, the gold tip airstrike. And it was brittle, but it was a light, crazy light arrow. And I went to it, and I was like in the 420s or something like that, 420s or 430s, and went to Kansas and had passed through on the buck, and 2 or 3 does I shot with it. Came back home, shot a couple hogs, same thing with them, had passed throughs with it, and they weren't big, and I didn't shoot them in the shoulder. It was just good, decent placement. And I was like, man, this bow's shooting faster. And kind of going back to the forgiveness, like you were talking about, when you have less pin gap, and if you draw back on a deer at 20 and he's chasing a doe, or you're shooting a doe, it don't matter what it is. You're aiming at 20 and she's at 20 and she comes either closer or further away. It's less room for error, less margin right there. Yeah, you just put it right there. And again, you have less pin gap. And that goes back to what Richard was talking about, like the forgiveness of it with speed. You don't get better accuracy with it. Or not necessarily, but you get more forgiveness with it. But
you still have to be accurate, but you don't have to judge distance as well. But
that's correct.
I'm at 405.
Perfect.
With this thing right here. Rip TKO 350. And I'm like 13 something on the low 13% on FOC. Touch light, but I mean, we shot it out in the wind, and
that's a big deal for me, like kind of being where we hunt's real windy. That's where, to me, it has nothing to do with penetration for me on FOC. Yeah. It has to do with hunting in 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah. We were at TAC, and that's one thing that Zach brought up. I don't remember what target or what shoot it was, but I remember shooting, and you're like, do you see the back end of your arrow? I mean, again, I pointed at the camera so you can see. So when you're shooting, it's supposed to be like that, going straight towards the target. This son of a gun, whether it's canted this way or this way, I mean, it was just still going straight towards a target. But I mean, that wind was kicking it over just like that, and it was pulling through. And
it's not about being extreme FOC for penetration. It's about being correct FOC for trajectory. Yeah. Or that's what I'm chasing.
It's 100% correct, and that's what a lot of people don't know. That wind will affect that back end of that arrow, but you put enough weight in the front, and it's pulling the back half.
That's what I'm looking for on FOC. It has nothing to do with shooting a 750 grain arrow or breaking bone. It has to do with being accurate.
Yeah. But like I said, I'm shooting. This year, had a pass though on every deer I shot with that bow right there. I'm pulling 28 and a half inch draw. 28 and a half, 70 pounds, 405 grain arrow, 294, 293.
Yeah, something like that.
So mid 290s, which is, again, freaking blazing fast. And 405 grain arrow with a mega meat. And I shot 2 deer over 50 and 3 under 50. One of them like 20 something, but 2 deer over 50, and they were does. But passed through, I mean, stuck.
But you got a pretty good video. A lot of people, you hear, well, this is we're off base here, but
I love it. Come on.
People always thought that deer duck the string, or the sound of the bow made them react, and it's the sound of the arrow.
I'm pretty sure I'm on that boat now too.
That video that your trail camera, the deer's at the thing, and
talking about the one I gave a haircut to, or the one I killed?
No, the one you killed.
Okay.
And that arrow, you heard the arrow way before it got there, but it sounded like a missile. It was a lot like a ricocheted bullet. It was, and
that was a 40-something, 42, 43-yard shot, I think. And you heard it coming from a long way.
And it took that long for us to hear it on that camera. That deer heard it way back up the thing. He probably thinks it's a horsefly, or he don't know what that is. But it's not the sound of the bow. It's the arrow. Well, and they're coming out with these new vein textures or materials or what have you that kind of that are knocking that down a little bit.
It is helping some, but when you go, you see a lot of the pro shops, like on YouTube, when they're going and they're getting people to shoot their bows, they'll go and they'll swap arrows. I noticed this a while back, but they'll go and they'll get a light bow that they have. There's a bow that they want to push or they want to sell. they'll shoot a heavier arrow through it for that reason.
Or to make it quieter.
Make her quieter.
For sure.
Make it quieter. And that's one thing that y'all do down there. You shoot the same arrow. Matter of fact, y'all shot the same arrow for a while. It only had 2 fletchings on it. It still might, I don't know, but you got several now.
Does.
It still does, but
it's a legend.
Yeah, it's a legend. It's sold a lot of bows, but you shoot the same length, same weight arrow on all of them for people to try out the bow. That way they're hearing the same.
Well, and some of that is for our benefit too, because we want to know. But but yes, if you go and put a heavy arrow on something you want to sell, and now that thing is whisper quiet,
dead quiet,
sounds like a mouse peeing on cotton. And then you go and put a light arrow on something you don't want to sell, and you say, "Man, that's loud, boy! I felt a little vibration." Yeah, that other one is. No, you don't do that.
There was
No.
a guy at TAC shooting in front of us on Sunday. He had 69-pound bow. He was shooting 290 grains, and it sounded like his bow was dry firing every time he shot it.
Yeah,
290
grain arrow out of a 69-pound bow.
I'm sure those bow manufacturers like to find out who he is. They're not warranting anything.
It sounded horrible.
Well, that's the thing. If that's something that people are worried or concerned with, at what point do you get that diminishing return that you go too light on
That's
something?
the word I was looking for. Diminishing return.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I understood talking about just the negative return. I got you. But at what point do you go to it too aggressively with trying to go too heavy? But you're slow. Talking about the deer hearing you. If that's what it is, that the deer are hearing the arrow, which they are, but the deer are hearing the arrow and not your bow, at what point do you get that diminishing return? You're just wasting time or wasting weight where you go too heavy to get it quiet on your arrow, or you go too light. You're talking about at 290s.
There's been wars fought over this conversation.
Yeah. Well, we got to go.
I don't know the correct answer to that.
I don't know. I mean, I love the weight. Kenny Dice, when he was on here, what's his draw?
29 and a half.
29 and a half. And he's shooting how many pounds?
60.
Mid 60s,
Yeah,
high
62
60s?
or 3.
Okay, so low to mid 60s.
Yeah.
On what bow is he shooting?
He's shooting, he's got 3 different Hoyts.
Okay.
And they all he's got them all shooting 292 feet a second.
Okay. So you're talking about 290 feet per second. That's right there what that one is. So he's shooting low 60s in the pounds, 60-something pounds.
He's got to be around like a 370 grain arrow?
No, he's shooting 400. He puts it on 400 exactly. I mean, he says that when he goes elk hunting, he does it. Does he say he don't pick it up on deer? He leaves it. He shoots the same arrow for deer and elk, doesn't he? Or did he?
Yes, but maybe we change his bow a little bit.
There's something. I remember there being a little bit of something, but for elk, you'll kill an elk, it'll clearly kill a deer, especially in the right spot.
Absolutely.
But he's shooting again 60-something pound Hoyt, 290 feet per second with a 400 grain arrow, and I'm talking about is smashing them. Elk, full grown 700, 800, 900 pound elk.
Since he started doing that. He's had more pass throughs than not.
Yep, and he went from a crazy heavy arrow to light. And doing so, I don't know. I think what in y'all's opinion is a good middle of the road that where you want to be on weight for just your average hunter.
If you're going to be in that FMJ, I mean, you're going to be 350 or 300 spine. I'm assuming it's the most common spines you sell. I mean, you're going to be around 450 with that 50 grain half out.
Yeah.
430 to 450, depending on your draw length.
Is that a good weight for the average bow hunter? I mean, that's bow hunting. I ain't talking about shooting tack.
I mean, I feel like you can kill anything in the world or North America with a 450 grain arrow.
And the only thing that you're doing after that is how far, getting heavier than that really is how far it sticks in the dirt.
Yeah, I agree.
A 450 grain arrow go this deep in the dirt after it passes through, and a 500 grain goes this deep in the dirt after it passes. Yeah. Doesn't matter, you got to pass through.
Yeah, I think just and give or take 10, 15, whatever. I think that 450 is a dang good average just to be around.
That's what I did with mine. I was at 530, 535, somewhere in that neighborhood, and this diminishing my return. I had great energy, but at a distance. I was lacking in that.
Yeah. Well, you remember I come in the shop a couple of years ago before my elk hunt, and I was like, I want to be 550. And you were like, man, you don't need that. He said, come on. He said, you need to be around that 450, 470, I think is what you were trying to put me in. And I ended up shooting it.
What broadhead did you shoot?
I ended up shooting that iron wheel wide. But I've now kind of, just a good, solid, sharp broadhead. I'm not saying, because those things are way too expensive, honestly.
No, but I tell you, with that cut on contact, 2-blade.
Mm-hmm. But whitetail, I shoot a mega meat, and
you don't need the 550 on that iron wheel.
No,
but
and that's what you told. I mean, I had in my head that this is what I needed to shoot. And you're like, man, you're not going to like that trajectory at 50, 40, 50, 60 yards.
Not out in the West. No,
yep.
you know, sometimes well, this is going to sound funny come out of me, but a 60, 70 yard shot on a elk, his chest, his
it's not the same.
Kill is the size of that truck door out there.
Yeah.
So you're going to shoot that if you're confident. Yeah.
Well, do you have any customers that go to Africa? Like, do y'all have? So, what would you recommend?
You just had one. The guy came in past Thursday. Him and his dad are going. They're from South Louisiana.
So, what would you recommend for plains animals? A 70-pound setup or a 75-pound setup, and then a 50-pound setup. What arrow weight would you recommend?
Zach, I'm reading into this. Y'all finna go to Africa?
Next year is mine and Haley's 10-year anniversary, and we're going to go to Africa for our
10 years.
Our 10-year anniversary. Yeah.
Don't tell my wife that. Well, we hadn't done much for our 25th.
We were so broke.
Sure. You just bought her a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sure did. I bought our live scope.
Yacht.
That's
it's
right.
A yacht.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of like, it just came about and I haven't really dived off into that. But would you run the same setup you would for whitetail?
Yeah, but the only thing with that African stuff is they're built different. All their kill stuff is way forward underneath that shoulder. So you're going to have something that's going to go through that scapula, go through that shoulder blade and
obviously leave Haley still in that cut on contact, but would you be scared to tell me to run a mega meat out there?
For you?
Uh-huh. Okay. No. Even like, one of our animals is a blue wildebeest.
No. I'd shoot a mega meat.
Perfect. I know nothing about African animals is why I'm asking.
That mega meat cuts.
I love it.
All right, so if you don't do a mega meat, do a dead meat.
Okay, yeah. I've killed whitetail with dead meats too.
If I were going elk cutting tomorrow, it'd probably be that dead meat. Yeah, just nasty. 1.5 inches. It gives you a little bit more. But you just got to make sure that whatever it is, you get in there that far after hitting that bone. Your airway's plenty enough for that. I wouldn't change anything.
Nothing
you're doing. Okay. No.
I didn't. Like I said, I know nothing about African animals. That's why I was asking. Well, you have way more African feedback.
Trips, you can add up none.
But you get feedback from customers too.
Yeah. We've got a friend of ours that lives in Marouge, and he and his they weren't married at the time, but they are now. Spires will, and they went to Africa, and he could really tell you what to do and what not to do. Yeah. Of course, they had a good experience, but with their bows, and she's not shooting much different than Haley.
Yeah,
she shoots an Axis, maybe a 400.
Mm-hmm.
I think we built it maybe just a little heavy on the front end, but not much.
Yeah.
She kills some stuff.
I can't remember Haley. Right now, I got her in. I had to build her a tack arrow. Her tack arrow is like 280. But her hunting arrows for the past 3 or 4 or 5 years has been around that 370, 360, 370.
That's still a good one.
It's been a killer. I mean, it's done no gripes.
What you got a box of arrows right there in front of you. So these are a couple of them are newer than others, but they're all new for this year. Tell me what we got there.
Well, I don't even have any yet, personally, but it's. I
told you that's gonna be the first one he picked up,
dude. I'm gonna tell you that's the best looking arrow on planet Earth right now. It's a full metal jacket 5.0.
You need a knife?
Do I necessarily even have to need to take them out?
Man, both quick on the gun.
But this
that OD green is sharp.
Look, there's going to be people buy this arrow, and they're going to have zero idea why they bought it. just that it looks good.
Did you tell us what arrow that was yet?
Yes, it's the Full Metal Jacket Max. Now this arrow, what they've done, it's a full metal jacket. It's a carbon tube with aluminum around it. Back in my day, my most favorite arrow ever was ACC, which was an aluminum tube with carbon around it. And this is just kind of reverse.
Isn't that what the FMJ has been up to this point before the Max has been at ACC?
No.
Okay.
FMJ was FMJ. Full metal jacket on the outside.
Gotcha.
But the ACC was reverse. The original full metal jackets were much, or not much, but they were heavier than this. This right here, Easton has lightened it up some. Now this weighs like an Axis, but you get that full metal jacket flight and characteristics.
Which is what?
Which is the characteristics of a full metal jacket, just how it flies, how it reacts, how it flexes. It's different than it is with a regular 100% carbon arrow.
Which is good, I'm assuming. I mean, I'm asking this for the listeners that don't know.
It's just different.
Yeah.
There's people that I shoot Axis right now.
Yeah.
It's just got a higher ballistic coefficient because of the way it's weighted, or something to do with the wrap. I can't remember, but they're really, really nice.
Well, they fly different.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, they do. They'll tune the same. They'll shoot the same little bullet hole up there in front of that paper if that's what you want to do.
Does the aluminum wrap have anything to do with the straightness? Does that help with the straightness?
Not
isn't aluminum straighter than carbon? Isn't that an old deal?
Well, I don't know. You can get carbon errors 0.001.
Oh, for sure. But I didn't know if there was more consistency and
it may be.
Yeah.
And it may be that may be something that we get our Easton guy.
I didn't know. I knew that's supposed to be like top of the line, the best thing you can put through your bow right now. Especially for anything around here you're going to hunt.
Well, but now you get that characteristics of a full metal jacket and a little bit lighter full metal jacket now. So now you can get you don't have that diminish in your return and still shoot with that. And
I love the new knock, Easton. That new micro light knock. I love it.
Now see that knock is way deeper than what we used with the regular.
The X knocks, they were inconsistent. In my opinion, they were inconsistent. You would, I'd have to buy 2 dozen to find 15 that were good.
And that's something that Dice does too. He still uses the old biter knocks, and they're still in business. But every one of his arrows, the knock came out, biter knocks went in.
Yep, and I did that before these knocks.
But that arrow right there, I'm telling you, I am so pleased with the aesthetics of that arrow.
Sucker is sharp.
And like I said, I hadn't shot the first one yet.
Well, it's coming. Let me read this to y'all off of Easton's website.
Give it to us.
Crafted in the USA, which is a big thing. We talk about that all the time. You talk about that all the time, which is awesome. That Easton, they source all
They're
their stuff
the
from
only arrow factory in the United States.
Crafted in the great US of A, the 5mm FMJ Max features a seamless Easton AccuCarbon core fused with a precision aluminum jacket. The synergy of combining carbon and aluminum creates a greater ballistic efficiency, higher energy at impact, and increases momentum, making it the ideal shaft for taking down big game, which has been great. That's been the awesome thing about the FMJs. Here's a problem though. We're going to a spot now that we really need to be, that everything from the bows to the arrows, you put the weight where you want it. Everything is lighter. That way you still need to add the weight back. You're getting these sub 4 pound bows, which is great. We're getting these, what's the GPI, the grains per inch on that arrow? Like
9.
9. Okay. So,
and I believe that's a 4. Was that? No, that's a 340. It's 9.8.
Yeah. Okay. 9.8. I don't know what the FMJ was on the 340s before, but it was probably pushing 11.
I think it was 11.
It was 11.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, well over a grain per inch, and that's 30
And you
lighter.
couldn't add that weight forward without getting into the mid 500, low to mid 500 grain.
Yeah. So that, again, if what they're saying is true, which I feel like we can believe that if what they're saying is true, then that's going to be the ultimate arrow. If you can go 9 grains per inch and you still get all the benefits of the FMJ arrow, the carbon and aluminum arrow, but
and it comes with a great component.
Yeah, it comes with a great component, and you tailor the weight and you put it where you want it, then that's incredible.
And look, and it comes with a 50 grain stainless.
I love it.
Half out.
Yeah.
Which before I think it was a 16 grain, hit insert. And you still could put hit insert in there if you want to.
Yeah.
I don't know why anybody would want to now, but you can. But that's the thing about all 3 of these areas that we're going to talk about. They have started making the shaft. You still get your spine, you still get your stiffness. They started making them lighter, and then you can, because that's the thing now. People want to build their arrow to their, and I agree with it. But you put it out front. Now you can do that without getting so heavy.
Mm-hmm.
The other arrow, since we're on Easton, is the Easton 5.0, and Easton had an arrow, and they still do. It's the Sonic. It was a 6 millimeter, kind of an H series, but and it was light. And Dudley made him famous, shooting tack events with it, and of course his draw length is so long, but he got that arrow. I'm sure his was not that heavy, but it sure was flat shooting.
Mm-hmm.
You see him, that dude, we got to get him whatever it takes. We're going to get him. Dudley, we're coming after you. You're going to do this podcast. But anyway, this 5.0, this 5 millimeter, same kind of thought process. So now that light Sonic is now in that 5 millimeter. You're going to get more penetration in this small diameter shaft.
Well,
people think the small diameter shaft, in a foam target, the small diameter shaft, maybe it has somewhat to do with it. There's less surface area. It's following a field point that's the same diameter. But when it comes to a deer, surface area ain't got anything to do with it. That broadhead is much bigger than what's following it.
And not just the blades it's cutting, but even just the ferrule itself.
Just the ferrule itself. So it's how the energy transfers from the front to the back, from the back to the front, and through the whole process. And you see it all the time. People see you shoot air in a target, and what you see in the rear end is the vibration. That's the energy depleting. With these smaller diameter arrows, with the right spine, you don't have, not that you don't see that, you don't see it as much as you do in the 6.5 millimeters, I can tell you. But the way that energy goes back and forth, it's in a tighter wiggle.
Yeah.
Wave.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little tight. Easton had a deal, and I don't know why they got rid of it. It is, in my opinion, it's one of the most important slogans. Focused energy. When they came out with that axis, focused energy, because that 5 millimeter, we call them 5 millimeter now. Back in those days, we just call them axis.
Yeah.
We done got off on them.
But something else on like that small diameter that it's a big thing for me is wind drift. Mm-hmm. Way less wind drift with your smaller diameter.
Well, that's when your surface area comes into play. When you're talking about that, look,
that's a big deal for me.
You see these cats shoot these recurves all the time, and they shoot at 60 meters, and they've got these little
4 mils and
no,
even smaller than
that. They're small, and they're about they'll what is that arrow? I can't remember what it's called now. But very, very small.
Yeah.
But it was very, very small in the front. Then it barreled in the middle, and it was very, very small.
So taper up and down.
Yeah.
Huh. And that just was for wind drift.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed a difference. I've played with that a little bit. And the reason I don't shoot the 4 mils, and maybe they're better now, but I had problems with just strength on them. And that 5 mil seemed to be that sweet spot for me.
Yeah, I'm a 5mm guy.
Yeah, I'm a 5. I love that 5 mil. And they're easy to pull out of the targets and stuff like that, which makes a big difference if you shoot a lot.
And that's another thing about those FMJs. When I used to shoot those back in the old glory days, I do remember that they're a whole lot easier to pull out of the target than that carbon. But that goes back into something you're saying. Just we're talking about getting the right spine and stuff earlier. And like with these arrows, there's so many different parts to this. But you're talking about that flex or that wiggle when you shoot it. So when you shoot that arrow, it's flexing, just to show you like this. It's flexing like this, going through the air. If you watch any kind of slow motion video, we got some. I mean, it's
like spaghetti.
Yeah, just like spaghetti. This rigid, hard, very stiff arrow, it's going to wiggle like spaghetti noodles going in and out the air. So when you go and you hit the target, those little micro spaghetti wiggles like you're talking about, you want as few of those as you can get, because like you said, that's that energy that is it is leaving that arrow. When it's shaking, it's just running out the back of the arrow. That's how it works.
You want that wave to be tighter.
As tight as possible. You ain't gonna be able to get it still, or you're shooting a rebar. Even then, it's probably gonna move some.
Yeah.
But still, not only are we talking about penetration on a target and how big of a deal that is, and how it's important that you get the right spine for what you're shooting, but also think about it flying through the air too. That's another part of it. Not only in penetration, but you're talking about when you draw back and you shoot, and that arrow, if it's wiggling all kind of spaghetti and flopping all around and you don't have the right spine, what kind of role does that play on it, on accuracy?
Good
luck. That's all I got to say is good luck.
That's what I'm saying. So it's not just getting the right spine for penetration. It's very important to get the right spine for
well, before you
accuracy.
get the right spine for penetration, you've got to get the right spine to tune. And then that spine, therefore, is going to get you the penetration.
Yeah. Yep.
Can you overspine a bow?
We say it a lot, sometimes having too much spine as far as how they tune is just as important as having not enough.
Yeah.
But as far as hitting the side of a deer, I don't know. I'd like to have too much.
Then
absolutely.
That's kind of the side I go towards. Is I try to go, like when I set my stuff up, I think, like, because when I was shooting 70, my specs are right on the verge of that 300, 340 is what Easton recommends, and I always just drop down to that 300 just to be on this, because I know I can get that 300 to tune being a little stiffer. It's always, to me, it's easier to tune a stiffer arrow than it is one that's too soft.
I'd like to have one too
stiff. Okay, yeah.
In the store, you very seldom anymore do we have a guy come in and say, "Man, I want a bow, but it's got to shoot over 300 feet a second." We don't hear that anymore. Used to, that's how the conversation started.
Yeah.
What bow you interested in? I need one that shoots 300 feet a second.
Yeah.
Now this is what speed is.
Well, they're all so close now. It's not like a huge conversation anymore. Like speed is so fast now.
Yeah, I mean, all of them are about the same. There's not that much difference anymore between the speed of a Matthews and the speed of a Hoyt.
Yeah, sure.
Or a Bowtech or anything else like that.
What you pulling out there?
All right. Let's talk about Victory. Now, Victory is for me, what was a mistake. We should have been carrying Victory arrows way before we started carrying Victory arrows. We've had such good luck out of these arrows.
Is Victory, would you say, is like the most durable with that weave? They're going to be your most durable arrow?
I'm not going to say they're the most durable, because we still get people to come in the store.
For sure.
I don't shoot them, so I don't know personally. For me, I don't know how durable they are. You can break anything.
Oh, for sure.
I broke full metal jackets.
Mm-hmm.
You can shoot a deer, and when he starts to run, his elbow's kicking, and Next thing you know, his muscles tense up, he breaks the arrow in half.
Yeah.
I don't. There's nothing that's come through the store that leads me to believe they're more durable than anything else. They're durable. So are the Full Metal Jackets. So are the axes. But you can break anything.
Yeah, sure.
I just don't. I'm not going to label one as more durable.
I think you're asking more
other.
of like kind of like the tack stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we even talked about of going
missing a target,
missing a target, hitting rock, tree, something like that.
You can see a noticeable difference in an arrow that has a weave on it, I think. And
you hit a rock the wrong way, and it'll break in half just like anything else.
For sure.
But I will tell you this: the arrows now, back in the day, Beeman, they had a protruded carbon, and when they broke, they it was splinters. Mm-hmm. Now all these arrows, they break in half.
Yeah.
And very seldom do you see, unless it's of course, now with this weave, it's round and then it's cross weaved or whatever. But even if you have the end of your arrow with a blunt force, mm-hmm. where you insert shove back into your arrow, your field point is too, you can really see all that weave then and can tell about it. Zach, I'm gonna tell you, I don't shoot. I haven't shot a tack, mm-hmm. But I have shot in a rock driveway before,
and they all break, huh?
And they all break.
Yeah,
you hit any the wrong way, and they'll break.
I got you.
But this is that new HLR, and are you shooting these?
No, I'm shooting I will.
Are you gonna shoot these
when I get? Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
I know Michael's shooting them, and I know Dice just went to them also.
Yeah. Was it on a 350? You're at 7.2 or 7.3, like 7.3 grains per inch on a 350.
And yes, and you can build that front end however you want to do it.
That sucker's going to be screaming.
They've been Easton has been a partner of ours for a while, and Victory. There's a company out there, Arrow Company. I'm not going to say. We're kind of unsure of their future, and so we added this Victory arrow a few years ago, and nobody's accused of Michael and I being very smart, but that's one of the smartest things we've done is included these people right here, and they're just so good to work with. Also,
yeah.
That arrow right there, that's going to be.
There's your tack arrow.
That's going to be a real popular. That's going to be a popular deal,
and a great whitetail arrow, or anything, just because
anything.
Yeah.
Just because of and it's so versatile. All these new arrows now are so versatile, just because of what you can add to the
mm-hmm.
to the front. You can make it do whatever you want it to.
Well,
do.
I floated back and forth between the HLRs and the Eastons, and just landed on the Eastons. The weights are so close and components are so good on those arrows. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them.
No, and I got such a history with that bunch, and they're American made, and
that's a big deal for me.
That's a big deal for me.
Yeah. What are the 5.0s?
Especially now the way this country is now.
Yeah.
On weight.
Yeah, like
the 300s are 8.4 and the 350s are 7.6. And
so, I mean, they're tit for tat. So the 5.0s are tit for
tat.
There's
a 0.3 grain difference between HLRs and the 5.0s and the 300 spines.
That is one thing I would want to check out, though. You did not ask me what my thoughts were on durability, which we've all talked about it some. But me shooting talked about it, yeah. The two most durable arrows that I've ever shot. I'm talking about shooting at long distance, mm-hmm. hitting a deer target or whatever kind of target in the leg, that middle part in the leg because you missed and made a bad shot. Or what happens most of the time is you just miss and you're going to hit something. Don't know what it is. You're going to hit something. Again, all arrows can break, but the two most durable I've shot, and this is by far, is the Axis, the match grade Axis, and then which that's the only Axis that I've shot, and then the RIP TKOs.
I shot the TKOs last year.
It may be because I haven't hit the stuff with these arrows like I did with the Eastons. I mean, the Axis. But this sun gun right here is it's a monster when it comes to taking a beating.
Well, look, you got to now with your axis. Did you have the half out or did you have the regular?
No, half out.
Well, a lot of it, not the HLRs, but the rips or the VAPs, either one. And that's all we just deal with the TKO. We don't do the, just the plain rip or the rip extreme, but they come with a half out that's, with the outsert that goes over the shaft. And you don't have a lot of blunt force damage to the front of that arrow just because of what they put out there on the front. And back in the day, Axis, I've got some full metal jackets that I had the 75 grain on, and you hit that metal rod in a deer's leg.
It split on you?
Split. Yeah, it shoved it up into the shaft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I shouldn't have hit the leg,
Yeah.
For sure. Sure.
But it did. So, but you take an axis that had the hit insert and you do the same thing and it shoves it in there.
Mm-hmm.
These not half outs, the outserts that they have that go on these victory arrows really help the front end. They protect the integrity of the front end of that.
They make the front of that arrow just more rigid because it goes past. I see what you're
and
saying.
You can feel it when you spin some of them too. But,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
It doesn't protect the integrity of the middle part of that area. If you hit a lot of times when you hit a limb, you're not hitting the limb with the point of it. It depends on how, sometimes you hit it in the middle of there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's one thing, going and kind of getting that arrow, holding it on each end like this and rolling it across your leg, like your thigh, and putting some flex to it, seeing if there's any kind of cracking or splintering and breaking. You need to do that if you miss.
Yeah, and I think all these arrows come with a little disclaimer. You need to check every time you pull one out of the tuck. You need to flex it and check it, make sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. The 5.0s, I didn't know that they were that close. So I don't know if I'd go with the
that's what
HLRs
me and Haley
or
are
the
shooting, are the
5.0s.
5.0s, and so far we're happy.
I was just going to ask you how you
love them.
Yeah, it's a great arrow.
You hunting with it this year too?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what I'm gonna hunt with. Yep, unless something else happens right now. I mean, I got 24 of them to lose. So as long as
you got a few more tack events between.
Yeah, so but yeah, they've been. I mean, I've been shooting them since February. I'm happy with them.
Look, I spent a tough get. They were slow shipping. You see and one of these days they'll get it straightened out, but you see a whole bunch of advertisement out there to build this arrow up. They build it. And then again, everybody is much smarter and on top of their game. Man, do you have those 5.0s? You asked us back in
a lot
February, did we have the 5.0s? I said, well, shoot, no, we just ordered them. But we ordered them in November or December, and we didn't get ours until just.
And I need to come get some more from you. I need some
very recently, like
more.
Maybe.
Yeah, they were tough.
Marchish.
To get. Yeah, they were tough to get.
Yeah,
they're popular.
Yeah,
so yes, they are.
So when you're talking about upgrades on a bow, we're going to talk about like the average guy. The average bow hunter. Is there even an average bow hunter when it comes into gear or anything in your store? Like when they come to Spotted Dog, what does your average bow hunter have when it comes to gear? Like bows, arrows?
Oh gosh.
Is there an average?
I don't know if there's an average. We still see some guys with some pretty high-end bows, with a whisker biscuit on it. And whisker biscuits are great arrow rest, but I get chills when I see them. I said, you're shooting this $1,300 bow and you put a whisker biscuit on there.
So why not tell people why not a whisker biscuit? But what's the negative effects of a whisker biscuit?
The positive effect of a whisker biscuit is you never have to worry about your arrow coming off.
Containment.
It's contained.
Yep.
Now you can see this Hamsky. It has a containment. It has a cage. QADs have your launcher. The the U that the air fits inside the launcher. The negative, when the string leaves, when the arrow leaves the string and you're shooting a fall away rest, the string has built up enough momentum in that arrow that the arrow stays up. And then the fall away drops, but the momentum keeps the arrow up. And then when it leaves the string, it's not in contact with anything. So whatever you do with your grip after that does not affect the arrow flight whatsoever. With the whisker biscuit, on the other hand, and Jay James is going to kill me. That's the rep for him. So anyway,
we just won't send him this episode.
Well, and look, and we sell a lot of whisker biscuits, so I'm not telling people don't get one, because there are some.
They have their applications.
They have their application.
Yeah, they're great for a lot.
But when that string comes off the bow and something, so that bow has made even though it's that quick, that bow has made its vibration or its feel, its recoil, its reaction. Maybe or maybe not, that arrow is still in contact with that arrow rest. Yeah. It's in the biscuit. So if it's.
Would you recommend the whisker bits? Like, say you have a brand new bow hunter coming in, is that what you would recommend, just for like the headache of having to think about arrow containment in a high pressure moment? Whitetail, the buck you've been hunting's coming in and he goes to grab his bow, shaking, and knocks his arrow, off his rest or something like that. That's just, or forgets to raise his launcher when he first gets in the stand on the QAD. So would you recommend like that whisker biscuit for your new guy coming into the sport?
If it's somebody that's, and it won't take long to figure out, because when he draws that bow for the first time, he's all over the place. He's bent over backwards, and his form is not. Yeah, it's probably safer for him.
That's what. But to me, that's like the best application for the whisker biscuit right now.
That or a youth.
Yeah,
there is no better arrow rest for a youth than a whisker biscuit.
Yeah.
You want that experience to be seamless and no trouble whatsoever. But yes, that's where I would.
Because I know I've been in some goofy situations trying to get drawn back on deer or something like that, and you hit your arrow, and then your launcher, especially on them QADs, you hit it just wrong, that launcher will fall. And I've had that happen trying to get on a deer and have to raise it, just for like your new guy's one less thing he has to think about in the tree stand trying to get on a deer.
I think if you're going, I think it's great for youth. If you're going, and I get what you're saying. It could be good. But man, if you got a grown dude or woman and they're going and they're putting the effort and they're spending all that money on a new bow,
put that
learn to flip
I'm talking
the QAD
like just
up.
that freak situation. But the followays are 100% more accurate. And you can't shoot a helical through a whisker biscuit. You can't shoot a helical vein through it.
Why?
I don't know. I tried it with Haley's bow when she first started. We left helical, dude, and that sucker, they would not group at all.
It shot through there, though, didn't it?
It shot through it, but it wouldn't group.
Don't say that. You did a blanket statement there. No, you can shoot a helical, straight, bare shaft.
Okay.
You can shoot, it'll look like it's snowing, but you can even shoot flu arrows through there if you want to.
Well, and that's the thing, though. That's the biggest thing that comes to me first in mind. I don't think about what the arrow is doing inside that small hole when you draw back and you shoot, because it's got to run through the full length of that arrow. I didn't think about that. I think about what your fletchings are doing, hitting all that material, and then what is that doing? It's hitting it, you would think, evenly, but what is that doing?
Well, you'd like to think it's evenly.
And it's not going to be. I mean, it can be to some degree, but we know even the smallest of changes, what they do at any distance, but especially once you get stretched out there 30, 40 plus, even 80 yards. But that's my thing with that. I want something that after about right here, it's falling down. I don't have anything else touching my arrow.
We try so hard not to have fletching contact.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
And you put these kind of arrow rests on there, and then you have 100% fletching contact 100% of the time.
And we could not get those arrows to group. And we bought a fall away, and took it all away.
And that's going to be a factor for sure. To
Yeah.
have
Well,
a
your
clutch.
spine, it's a different spine altogether too.
Yeah.
And that's these spine charts are kind of, I'm not saying they're misleading, and they're not, but I know back in the day, you would take a spine chart, and it would, this is before they had followaways, and you're on some kind of rigid arrow rest. The spine chart, you always could go a little bit weaker than what they show, because the arrow, the arrow leaves a string somewhere right here, maybe a little bit more forward, and this thing right here falls down, depending on whether it's on the limb driven or whether it's a cable. It's the arrow is 3/4 of the way down before that thing really falls. But what in the world? I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with it? What were we talking about, Nolan? Come on.
No fletching contact.
No fletching contact.
You're talking about weaker spine. You could get away with a little bit weaker spine.
Yeah. You get away with a little bit less spine on a fall away, just simply because there's the arrow is not in contact with that rest throughout the entirety of that shot.
Yeah.
So anyway, but the biscuit, when you have a $2,000 setup, we're not going to put those on there.
Yeah.
By God, they were popular though.
When they still are. I mean,
Are they?
yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, you're talking about like a lot of the 4-H stuff. Think about how many kids come in there and like youth, like young kids. I mean, dude, even teenagers, like grown, I don't know, juniors, probably not saying, I don't know how old, but I mean, y'all have a good bit of people, like kids that come down. They're teenagers that are shooting these competitions and doing stuff, and
it's serious.
Yeah,
Look,
and
they take it as, that's something about archery. It doesn't matter how fast, how strong, how far you can throw a baseball or a football or tackle somebody. It's not all about it. Everybody starts the same. But there's several of them out there that take it more serious or as serious as a travel baseball family. And in that biscuit, and I think a lot of them are trying to, I just don't understand why, what you have a whisker biscuit on there and these kids, their arm will, their holding arm will fall, or, a lot of it has to do with that arrow in contact with that arrow rest while all that's going on. And it's tough.
And that's something else too. That's something when we were shooting the other day and we were shooting that goat target you got out there, it's 100 yards. And I kept going. I just kept shooting low. And I finally was like, am I dropping my arm? I had something that's easily for, bow hunters or like archers do is just drop that arm. That's another thing. You're shooting a biscuit. You drop that arm. She's
skipping.
Yeah.
It'll skip out there on the ground.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even the smallest. And I didn't even think about that till now.
Look, Bear Archery, we're not talking bad about your whisker biscuit at all, but Trophy Ridge. But
we're just saying
we're just generalizing.
It has its place.
But
doesn't Trophy Ridge, they make fall away rest too, though.
Sure they do.
Yeah.
And they make some good ones.
Yeah.
But it has its place, just like this arrow, it has its place, and there's places that don't need to be in. And so same thing with, dude, that Hamsky, that is that son of a gun is, I'm trying to say that it's my favorite one, and it is durable. I don't know if they make one that is more durable that you could beat. We take care of our stuff, but I don't know if they make one that's more durable. You could just give a beat into and it still perform.
I'm trying to find something wrong with it, but
here's the only thing wrong with it I found for bow hunting. If you're bow hunting and you like to be able to go and get it, I think you had an issue with it. What was the issue you had with containment?
The only issue I had, and this is, again, hunting high wind, is I would knock an arrow, hang my bow up, and when my bow was swaying, my arrow would move in that containment, unlike it does in the QAD.
Do you have your arrow holder that it comes with? Is it on your bow?
The plastic or the rubber piece?
Little U-shape?
Yeah, but you got to think my bow, I'm hunting in 40-mile-an-hour winds and stuff like that.
And it blows it out of that little U thing?
I wouldn't say blows it out, but it ticks. Like, it'll move in and out. like the bow will sway and it'll fall out, but then it ends up when it sways back the other way, will end up like
goes
going
back in it?
not back in it, but on both sides. There's a big enough gap between the riser. It'll end up in between the riser and that rubber piece.
I don't use that. I don't use that. I'm afraid my fletchings are gonna
Touch it.
So, but what I do have, I have a piece out here on the front of the on the front of the riser right there that my arrow lays on.
Well, maybe that may.
And it's a piece of the not the sticky stuff, but the opposite of the sticky stuff on Velcro.
Yeah,
that's what I put there. Mine. Now I'm not in 40 mile an hour winds.
But
I'm not getting.
That's what made me put that QAD back on my RX-9 was that reason.
You put that on there, and it'll never.
Yeah,
120 mile an hour north wind in Cottonwood in January, and
because your launcher ain't gonna fall on those and stuff like that. Like you're not gonna accidentally knock your launcher down. I like the Epsilon, like the durability of it better than the QAD, but I like the containment system on the QAD better.
I think that's the only thing that if someone was to have a negative on the limb driven rest of whatever kind, that'd be it. But like that Epsilon, what I like about that son of a gun is the launcher. I mean, it's a mile wide. It covers the full. It sticks past the cage, and it is as wide. Well, at the very bottom, it's a hair. It's a touch wider than the cage itself, and so your arrow, it may move around. Mine does. It does move around, but having that soft material on the launcher, I haven't had the issue. Like I said, where people.
I'm literally nitpicking. I'm nitpicking.
No. But I'm telling you, when you're up there and you don't want that ticking sound.
Yeah.
You don't want arrow to riser contact sound at all. But you just place that strip out there in the front and kind of go up your riser a little bit, and you'll never hear it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because a lot of these, if this right here is all the way down, your arrow is kind of, because it's down, it's kind of at a down angle, and that part of your arrow is a little above your launcher a little bit. But that wide launcher, it regardless of where that arrow is, it catches it and it slides it right back down. But the construction of it,
bar none.
I've tried to find something wrong with it.
Well, like I had my Epsilon
it's a little heavy.
Yeah. When I went elk hunting, and I fell down a rock slide, and I slid down a rock slide probably 30 yards, my bow on my back, and got it back to the truck, shot it, and it was perfect. So, I mean, durability-wise, I don't think you can beat it.
Well, look, you can have pros and cons on
everything.
Well, I don't think you can go wrong with either, though, honestly. Like, you buy the QAD or the Epsilon, I mean, you're still getting a really nice rest.
Yeah. I think
as expensive as they are, $300, they need to
they need to perform.
They need to perform.
What about sights? What's some of the new stuff that's out with sights that you think is worth?
All these sights now, they're just about giving them away. The Matthews UV.
Yeah.
We sell a lot of them. Holy cow.
That's why I asked Michael last night. Or
$500,000 a piece.
I know. I asked him, I said, here's the stuff that we're doing. For sure, here's the things that we want to talk about. Can you bring from the store? And I'll just meet you. And I mentioned the sights. I was like, bring a couple, or bring the UV, I say UAV, I think Call of Duty or something. Bring a UV at Matthews. And he's like, well, if we have it, we ain't gonna have many. And he said, I need to leave them here. And so anyhow, he didn't bring it. My point is,
we sell.
What are they, $600-700 a pop?
$700,
and I'm telling you, they sell like freaking hotcakes, dude.
But dude, those,
and they're a great sight.
I think they're great sights. But to me, their scope with their lighting deal, that wins me. I'm a spot hog guy,
right?
I'm not gonna shoot anything but a spot hog, but that particular site, I get it, and I understand why people are kind of drawn to it. Plus, it fits that bridge lock fits it perfectly.
Yeah. And there's several of them that do, but that one, it is a very expensive site.
But the one they make for Matthews now, that's strictly, you can't get that configuration in a UV.
This is the Matthews.
It's just a Matthews
exclusive. Yeah. But so people coming in, we already talked about the arrow rest, talking about your average bow hunter looking for things to upgrade. Arrow rest, you said from the very beginning, that's the most crucial thing that you can do to make sure that part of your bow is right. And I ain't talking about good, I'm talking about perfect. So we talked about the benefits of upgrading from a cheaper fall away or a whisker biscuit up to QAD or some kind of fall away, whatever kind of is, just a good reputable fall away. So you talked about that. But when it comes to sights, not everybody is going to want to spend $600-700 on a sight. And so that's the boonie right there. What's the price of a boonie? $350, $300?
Yeah, something $349,
which is still a lot of money.
Yeah,
like, that's still a whole lot of money. So what are some things that you're looking for in a sight, or some of the new sites that you like that you think people want to upgrade they can go to?
We have a big opinion on arrow rest, but when it comes to sights, there's a lot of good ones out there. And what I like and what somebody else, I can tell people about those products, but then they have to make their mind up on what they want. With the arrow rest or whatever. On a bow like this, you got to, which fall away you want to put on there, because that's where we're going.
Yeah, talking about either a Hamsky or a QAD,
or limb driven or cable driven.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And then we'll decide on the company after that.
Yeah.
But sights, it depends on how far they're in it. They're still fixed pins. CBE makes a great, inexpensive 3-pin, 5-pin sight. They make a great, inexpensive, comparatively speaking, inexpensive movable.
I think, is that the one you sold to Lamar? He just put on his bow? He just put
what is that, the CBE Trekker?
I don't remember.
Is that the Trek? No. It's not as expensive as some of what they've got, but it's not a cheap one either. But when I hate to even use the word cheap, but inexpensive, $70 to $100.
Yeah,
I can't believe it just came out of my mouth, but that's really an inexpensive sight to put on a upper end bow. Now, there's some Trophy Ridge makes some great stuff, anywhere $30 to
a few hundred,
50.
That'll get you hunting.
No, that'll get you hunting. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they're really good. But that thing right there that's on your bow right there, you fall down a mountain. Your pull-up rope breaks. It hits the ground. Now you may have to go check. Did your riser break in half, or did your limbs fall off? You don't have to worry about your sight didn't. That spot hog's tough.
They are. So for most people, again, going back to just your average bow hunter, and we're not downgrading by saying average bow hunter. We're just talking about, when I say your average bow hunter, the guy that they don't shoot every single day. They got other hobbies, other things they like to do. They don't shoot every single day. They're not breaking their bow out in September trying to make sure the strings or something didn't blow up. So guys that still shoot consistently. It's just not every day. And they don't give a crap about shooting 80, 100 plus yards. They're like, all right, I'm hunting. I want to shoot out to 40, 50 yards, 60 yards at the most. That's all I want to do. That's why I'm kind of referring to your average bow hunter. So we talked about the fall-aways or the arrow rest, but the sights, you're pretty open. You're a lot more open on that than you are the arrow rest.
Absolutely.
But for your average guy, movable pin or fixed pin? What do you?
Average guy, fixed.
Fixed?
Now you can, there are 3-pin, there's 7-pin movables if that's what you want. But basic, there's 3-pin movables. You can get a 20, 30, 40 without ever having to move your movable. But if everybody likes to know how good they can shoot. So if they've got a place they can stretch it out in the backyard, why not do it a 3-pin movable? And then once hunting season starts, you jack that back up to the home setting and it never moves.
Yeah. And
then back in the spring, you kind of move it around. The CBE still has a good one of those. And of course, higher end, your spot hogs, HHA. How can we forget HHA? That's one of the tougher all aluminum.
What's that new site that just came out? HHA Nitrix. Is that it?
Yes.
Is it the nitrix?
Isn't that what it's
Yeah,
called?
I think so. That sight interests me a
Look,
lot.
they even changed their package. They went from red to green.
Yeah.
Everything about it. Look, the Tetra, as far as I've seen, they don't even have that.
I had a Tetra last year I loved.
That Tetra's a good sight.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nitrix.
Nitrix.
I mean, that side interests me a lot since now that they put the first axis adjustment on there too.
Yes, they did.
That was kind of my gripe with the Tetras is I did have the pick mount that ended up being a little off. No, I'm talking really long distance that ended up being at a slight diagonal angle that I couldn't adjust.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure you get more open-minded. So we're talking, there's a sight. So you got that now.
Yeah.
But really the only other thing you have accessories, quivers, that's super open. But stabilizers, that's the only other thing. And that's going to be different for every person.
No, it's going to be different for every bow.
Yeah.
You shoot a bow without one and your pin wiggles a lot. Mm-hmm. Some of that has to do with the Indian anyway. Mm-hmm. So, but if somebody has shot there and shooting shape and their pin wiggles, you add a little weight to the front, then that little pin, it stops wiggling as much. You add enough weight out there and your pin starts floating rather than wiggling. And, a floating pin is way more accurate. You can hold it better. And, of course, you've got the back bar, so, there's people that have this that have zero idea why they have it. Well,
because it looks cool.
I saw Levi shooting.
Mm-hmm.
But it has its place. And they don't get in the way as much as you might think. We all hunt out of saddles now, and I've not had mine get in the way. But I'm not saying you necessarily have to have it. But shooting a long way, like
I use it to add a little bias into my grip because to me, a perfectly balanced bow moves everywhere. So I use it to actually add just a little bias one way to push into, and it locks me in.
Kind of like what we talked about the arrows. I'm so thankful that they're making these arrows lighter. That way I can put the weight where I want it. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the bows.
And that's all preference.
I like whether I don't like shooting a light bow. I want a light bow, but I like a light bow. That way I can put the weight where I want it. And we tinker around putting, taking an ounce off the front and put it in the back, or vice versa, moving stuff around and changing it all up, and then just shooting a while and to figure out, 1 ounce in the front or in the back or a couple ounces here and there makes a big difference in your hold. And so yeah, don't just go and spend a lot of money on stabilizers or bars or whatever.
Save your money and buy the Go Sticks instead.
Yeah, dude, those Go Sticks.
I don't think a bow hunter should have a bow without the Go Sticks or limb legs.
Yeah. Well, and real quick on the stabilizers, I think they could help a lot of people, and I think they could help everyone.
For sure.
But kind of like you said, just because you see Levi Morgan shooting one, that don't mean that you just need to go get it.
You need to understand why you have it.
You need to understand why you have it and the benefit it from, and know the difference that Richard, like he was talking about, the difference between like that wiggle, like talking about those arrows, that spaghetti wiggle, but talking about the wiggle versus a float, and understand the difference and what those actually accomplish. You need to know that. So don't just spend your money. I mean, look, still go. I think it's great to buy them, but let Michael and Richard, let them tell you why.
But you put enough weight in the right place, and that pin don't move.
It's slow.
It's crazy how solid or stable you can make a bow with stabilizers. Mm-hmm. But too, it can be bad. You can get where you add too much weight and you're adding too much bias or too much weight somewhere, and it ends up causing bad form too. Yeah. So you have to be careful going with overweighting stuff. Like you'll see guys
that aren't physically strong enough to handle
they'll have
the
30 ounces on the back of their bow and then 15 up front. I mean, I run 6 in the back, 3 in the front. And right now I'm running long bars, but hunting season, I'll bring that down to an 8 and a 6.
Yeah.
And just to add that little bias for me on that left, and it cleans my shooting up a lot.
Yeah. Well, my biggest thing when I add too much weight on my bow, period, I noticed, I'm not a big jacked Thor looking son of a gun, but I noticed after shooting a while, I'll go and that left arm, it starts getting a little bit shaky. I draw back and I can hold. If that shot don't break and it don't go off within 3-4 seconds, like I draw back and just like, and it breaks.
Yeah.
If it don't do it pretty quick, that arm starts shaking.
Well,
and-
you talk about weight. The biggest example is Haley. Think about how good she shot at tag.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't shoot like that before she got that bow. She hasn't had something that light that she could handle.
yeah.
She's been shooting a big heavy bow, and that RX-9 SD just fits her like a glove. They built that bow for Haley.
Yeah, but you got some good bows out. We got to talk about the saddle. So I'm going to pass this puppy on over to you. Oh, and that old Richard. Tell me what we got there.
All right. The story.
Lay it on us.
So this guy comes in the store and said, man, if we can help you, let us know. And he's looking at our saddle tree and all the saddles we have on it. And he said, no, I'm just here. I'm meeting a guy from West Virginia. He's driving down and he said, I make tree saddles. No kidding. I said, what's the name of it? He said, Buzzard Roost. I said, dude, we've been trying to get it in with Buzzard Roost. Buzzard Roost, look, all these tree saddle companies, just for a second, all these tree saddle companies were dealer, consumer direct.
Yeah.
Nobody made a saddle that you could sell at retail.
Right. Just had to buy them online.
You had to buy them online. And then I think, not Muddy. They came out with that little inexpensive.
Oh, not XOP, Hawk.
And great to get started. Probably not the most comfortable thing, but it lets you know that you like saddle hunting. You like the idea of it. Well, anyway, I said, man, go get one. So he went and got one, and we got on that tree and immediately fell in love with it. And this cat is an engineer of some kind, a smart cat. He was like a cat squirrel, and he went around that tree, did this and that. I said, I didn't even know anybody could do that with a saddle, to be honest with you. But anyway, but what he has, it's a, for lack of a better word, it's a 2-panel saddle, easy to adjust, but they also have, there's some 2-panel saddles that only have one ring. Mm-hmm. This one has 2. And where you put these knots to adjust, you can take the pressure, or you can adjust the pressure. Let me put it that way. There's still going to be some pressure one way or the other.
Still going to feel it, but you can take it if it's too much pinch on your hips or in your back. You can adjust those D loops, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, you can adjust them, and they're tied together.
Yeah.
This saddle, and you can get, tethered. Makes a great saddle. That's our bread and butter. Tethered
and like in the grit line.
The grit line especially, because tethered, once they came out with their retail end, they now make one for dealers only. Mm-hmm. And the grit is it, and it's great.
Yeah.
But this is new. And you can get these for these other saddles, but it's for a lot of them it's an add-on. But suspenders, a suspender kit. So if you're hunting a saddle already, and you put it on before you leave the truck, or if that's what you do, I know that with mine I carry it in my backpack if I walk a long way. But it's almost like having a pair of breeches that's too big, and you're constantly having to pick them up. This suspender kit that this guy's got on here, not only will it stop you from doing that, they're comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
They're way comfortable. And they also have where is it? All right, so right here, your back adjustment, you've got the where you can adjust this this up or down. You can just reach here behind you, and you just flip it with your thumb, Or you pull it
Tighten
down.
it down.
You tighten it down.
Which is great for like when you're walking in. And that's my biggest complaint when it comes to 2-panel saddles. I run that Cruiser XC right now and love the saddle. I'll be running that Buzzard Roost this fall. Have you worn that yet?
Not the Buzzard Roost, no.
You have to put it on before you leave.
Yeah, I will.
You need to come on. No, you need to hang it.
Yeah, you need to hang it for sure.
You can put it on, but until you hang on that tree with that and feel it.
Yeah.
Look, well, this cat's out of in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, right outside between Baton Rouge and New Orleans.
Yeah.
Makes them all down there. Everything's made in the USA. Right down there.
Yeah, I have a tethered now, the Manus or Manus, whatever.
Yeah.
And I like it, but the suspenders, that interests me a lot.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you that.
And I don't know, I use my saddle more for hanging tree stands.
Mm-hmm.
That is the safest way to hang tree stands is in the saddle.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Well, instead of having one foot on the step, one leg wrapped around the tree.
One arm wrapped around the tree.
How did we ever do that anyway?
I don't know.
And back then, we didn't fall out of the tree like we do now.
When we were younger, when you were putting up lock-ons when you were younger, did you even have anything on?
No.
I never did.
No.
I just dumb. But the 2-panel like that, it's that's the only 2-panel that I've sat in.
I haven't even sat in a 2-panel yet.
Well, that's set in that one. Let me know what you think. But that's the only 2-panel I set in that I'm like, oh, okay, I like this because I love the comfort typically of a 2-panel. Or I like the idea of a 2-panel because I have my XC, my Cruiser, but I have that back band, that little recliner, or I think Tethered calls it recliner.
Yeah,
but the back band is what.
Now that works.
Yeah.
That works too.
It works really, really good, but that's just one more piece that I have to go get around my rappel rope or over here with some other, accessory to the saddle or bow hunting. I've got to go get it, pull it out, put it on, hook it on. It's not much. I'm complaining about little bitty small things, but
dude, it matters in the dark. That matters.
But having that where it's all built together, and while you're walking in, you cinch it down just with 2 little straps. You just pull one on each side, and it cinches it all in. It feels like a one piece. Then you get up in the tree and get situated. Then you can loosen it out just a touch to be able to get that recliner or that back band feel and be able to tailor it up and down. That's a ticket.
But but there still is, even with this, there's a place for that.
The back just running up way up high. Yeah,
if you're going to hunt all day,
you got to have it.
Yeah, it takes some pressure off your shoulders, and if not, you'll just be a.
My hips are bad. They cripple me pretty good if I send them pretty long.
Yeah,
I need to try that one because my hips hurt me all the time anyways, and I get in one of those saddles for too long, 4 or 5 hours, and I start feeling it big time. That's what brings me out of the tree before just getting tired of being there. It's just pain.
Go ahead.
No.
Like a hammock, that kind of feel, almost like a zero gravity kind of thing. I'm not saying that that's a zero gravity saddle. That's not at all what I'm saying. But there is so much adjustment, not only between just the 2 panels, but also between the because you got 4 D loops right there. And have you felt them? Feel those D loops on it. Turn around and feel it. Tell me what you feel. Yeah, these right here, like that your bridge and all that stuff's connected to.
Just feel,
just
squeeze them.
Squeeze them, feel around. You feel like it's almost got like little notches and stuff in there.
Yeah.
So it'll catch it. And so there's so many adjustments between those 4 D loops that have the notches that run the full length of the thing. And they're small, but they catch your bridge. But
they hold it.
They hold it. Yeah, they catch it and they hold it. And so that way, if you want to go and position it a certain way, you just do it and leave it there. Or if you want to go and I hate to use the term like micro tune, but if you want to barely push it over, you can feel it. Like you can actually feel that little bit of push. But between those adjustments on those 4D loops, being able to go and, again, micro tune, since we're talking about archery stuff, micro tune that.
But when you're sitting for 5 hours, being able to micro tune something is
big.
Necessity.
Well, and you can run that panel, that bottom panel, which is like your seat, you can run that way up under your legs and still have plenty of room on that other to loosen it up a good bit where it runs up your back to support your back. And then if you're sitting there for a long time like we do, we don't get to go out of state or even hunt near as much as we want. Like that's all of our busy time of the year. And so being able to go and put that back band up even higher, I mean, you got 3 points of contact on you right there with that thing. And you do with the others.
Have to give that a try.
You do with other 2-panel saddles too, but it don't have the customization or the feel like that one does.
Yeah.
It doesn't. But Spotted Dog, it's the only places you can go and shop and buy here in Louisiana for the saddle. You can buy them online anywhere, probably Russia if you want to, but
on something that you need to go in the store and get fitted for sure.
Yeah, not Louisiana overall, but just definitely around us. You're not driving within an hour or two either way of where we are to be able to get that. And man, that's huge. That's a hot
I'm
item
definitely
right
gonna
now.
have to give that a try.
But we're so proud to be a partner with them.
Yeah.
And now that we've met him, and his dad came up the other day, during the
Big Benny.
Yeah, and Gregoire.
Yeah.
We left his name out on the advertisement because none of us could pronounce it, so we
tried
just
to call
said,
it, he didn't answer.
We just call him Benny.
Yeah, it's Benny. Old Benny.
Gregoire. And
I don't leave
really
the house
nice
without
guy.
my saddle though.
Yeah.
Anywhere, it doesn't matter. You going hunting, you take it. You just never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
There it is.
That's
Good
it.
old
Buzzard
USA.
Roost. Yep.
Got a flag sewn in it.
I definitely like that.
I'll tell you the last thing I like real quick, and Richard, I promise we'll let you go. But let's see if you can see. Yep.
Now,
Right.
look, both of y'all have that. How do you, when you bow hunt in October, y'all still
I
wearing
do
those?
not go in the woods without it. Turkey hunting, bow
about the
hunting,
bino harness?
scouting.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't leave home without mine. This is a necessity for me. And I have a little pouch on mine that I keep like a rainy day pouch, spare release, ear pro, hunting license, wrenches.
That's a good idea.
Because if I go hunting, this goes with me.
Yeah. It does not get in your way at
Does
all.
not.
Zero.
It's hot. I sweat when that's on me.
I don't know.
I don't know if
there's a
anybody
man.
sweats as much as I do, and I still won't leave the house without it.
I like them. I think they're pretty neat. You see them on. Everybody has them.
Once you, especially like hunting out of a saddle. Once you hunt out of a saddle with, I don't see how you're not. Just because you got everything right here, you can keep your release. Like I said, I got wrenches, I got my knife, I got ear pro for if I'm rifle hunting, I got my hunting license.
Gun holster.
Yeah.
Put your little suppressed 22 down there, shoot hogs or something with walking out.
Oh, is that what that is? I was going to ask you what that.
Your little gun holster. But this is the part I want to talk about. We could hammer on marsupial all day until
when Nolan's coming out after dark.
I'll shoot you.
And yeah.
Have I? Which we got to go back and reshoot it. We ain't gonna say why, but Richard's making us reshoot the highlight the gun build video that we did. But I built a 20. Did I show you that 22 that I built? So I got a Ruger Mark IV or 22 45 Mark IV or whatever it is, tactical. It's the Ruger pistol. It's almost like this color. It got it. It's a really cool thing. I put a TLR1HR or HL, which is 1,000 lumen light on it, and I got a red dot and a suppressor. And so you want to talk about the ultimate little pistol?
Yeah,
that's a bad son of a gun. Look, it slides right in there perfectly, and I mean you just take it hunting with you. It's awesome. But
what's a little cartoon character? Go Gadget Go.
Yeah,
that's your
There's
boy.
his first cousin.
I'll nerd double first cousin. I'll nerd out on some stuff.
Yeah,
but this is what I wanted to talk about. This bad boy, right?
Look, I love the way you have that.
Yeah, and their design. That's what I've designed these for.
Turn around where the camera can see that, Nolan.
Yep, right here.
And I actually on his, just because I love the bow hunting world, is I actually wrapped the handle in BCY 24 D-loop material. So say you did get in a bind, you got D-loop material right there that you could.
What since that's your knife, tell us what it's called. Tell us.
So actually Nolan helped me with the name on this. We're actually going to call this one the hitch because this sucker can be added on to anything, anywhere. I mean, it's lightweight, weighs 3 ounces. And that's with the sheath. Knife itself weighs 1.8 ounces. Steel's 8670, and they're all going to come Cerakoted with a Kydex sheath. And this is the big update on these. This is why I've been playing with this knife for a couple of years, but I figured the sheath out in the design alike. We have a beltless clip on here now, and these will clamp anywhere. And I mean, they're super, super tough. And every bino harness out there has 2 pockets. They have a pocket you can stick it in like Nolan's, or if you go marsupial, the one that's not enclosed all the way, they have a molly strap right here that is great to hook it on. But it's just something. I haven't got a price point on them yet because I haven't quite got everything figured out, but these are coming. and I have big plans for these. I mean, it's turned into a passion project for me because I love the archery world. I love the hunting world. And I feel like I finally got something that is integrated into my bow hunting, my hunting gear. And it's not in the way. It's not it's married to my pack.
Well, look, I'm going to tell you. So I was fooling with one a while ago and I said, man, what if that thing falls out? Well, this thing's got
it's not coming out.
It's not.
No,
it's not just going to fall out. But I'm telling you, that thing is sharp as all get out.
Yeah.
But you can put that on your backpack.
Yeah.
You could put it easy to get. Somehow or another, you wind upside down.
100%. And if you got a bino harness on you, if you fall upside down, your harness is with you. So, I mean, you will have a safety knife on you.
Once you calm down and figure out what's happened, it's all right, I need to cut this line to get myself turned back around or whatever.
Yep.
Who in the world wouldn't want something like that?
Yeah, but we have big plans for these. I'll have some with me we're going to Total Archery Challenge this weekend at San Antonio. I'll have some with me there. But we're in the process of where I can get my hands on a bunch of these. These are all handmade by me, American product, American steel.
Tell them about the warranty that comes.
And everything I build that has my Rafter P maker's mark on it, that's your insurance card. All my work comes with a lifetime warranty, no questions asked.
So this is his typical knife that he makes. He's big in the Western world, and we're really hammering this, which we would do anyway.
That's just a Western. That's a caping knife.
Y'all use this in the archery department all the time.
We use it just to cut strings with, but I'm telling you, when it dulls, and it took a while for it to not be as sharp as it was with about 5 or 6 whacks with that,
and that's
it's right back.
And that's why I get the stainless steel kick. I get all that, but that's the same point. What if you're in the backcountry and you're quartering up an elk and you don't have time to sit there for 30 minutes to sharpen your knife, and you can take this carbon, and if you got a good stone, and Work Sharp makes a perfect little ceramic and stone that I think it's like at 1.5 ounces if you get crazy on the weight, and it takes just a second to touch that carbon back up and you're ready to go back to work.
Yeah. But that's why I was saying, just we'd highlight your stuff anyways, but we sell these at the store.
No, for sure.
And and so everything that we have, everything that you offer, you've done some like collab kind of knives, like kitchen, some stuff like that. But this is your bread and butter.
That's bread and butter for sure.
You drop these, you make a limited number. And dude, how many did you have when we went to TAC? Did you put on your website?
I think we put 8 or 10. 8 or 8, I think. Yeah, 8.
Just say it was 8. We went out there. He posted them. Before we got to target number 3, I think 4 or 5 of them were gone. Okay, it was just me and him shooting. By the time, I don't know, 10 o'clock that night, 9 o'clock that night, they were all sold. And so
I have like y'all, I have great customers. I have a really good following, and my customers take care of me. So.
And my point to saying that is, if you want a Rafter P custom knife that comes with that full lifetime warranty, you got to be quick. It's kind of like signing into TAC or buying Taylor Swift tickets. You got to be quick to be able to buy one off his website. But we're fortunate that I don't know how many retailers sell yours, but we're fortunate that
not only 2, 3. Y'all are one of them. Y'all are one of 3.
We're one of 3 retailers, and I think we still have some now.
I'm very picky at where I put my knives.
We don't have very many.
Yeah, it ain't very many.
But it's just.
But I think this is going to be more
blades,
y'all's bread and butter in the shop. This is going to be. I'm trying to get this to be a price point knife. And every bow hunter should have this on his harness, somewhere on his saddle, on his backpack,
or just a hunter in general.
Hunter in general,
backpacker.
Yeah. And I say bow hunter. I'm passionate about the archery world. But another thing that I'm wanting to do, everybody's into color matching everything. Color matching your bow. I want to color match these knives to the major brand companies too. So I think that'd be pretty cool. Mm-hmm. You see it at TAC, everybody's color matching everything. So I think that'd just be another cool option.
Oh, you got to look good.
That's it. That's the only thing you need. You ain't worried about arrow rest. If you look good, you shoot good.
Yeah.
And what's the name of it?
We're gonna call this one the Hitch.
The Hitch.
Yeah,
that's a great name.
And we have another model now that I've got the sheath and the knife tied down. I got another model, and it's gonna be like a little smaller than this. It's not gonna be the same exact design, and we're gonna call it the Hiker. So we'll have the Hitchhiker. Yeah,
ain't that pretty? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We'll have the Hitch and the Hiker. So, but yeah, These will be coming. They're not on the website yet. We're probably another few weeks from me offering these to the public. I still got some more things to figure out on them. Just getting them produced at the size that I want to produce them, and but it ain't gonna be long, and we're gonna start running with these. So
I know I like them. They're comfortable in your hand too.
Yeah, it'd be great to have on you when you're outdoors doing stuff.
That's what this one was for. That one was for you to put on your new bino harness you're gonna get.
That's the green. I like that green.
That's your bow too, ain't it?
Kind of is.
That green ambush.
Oh, is he got the?
I think
Wilderness.
Here, Wilderness. What is green ambush?
That's
Matthews.
the other brand.
Is that Matthews?
It's the other brand. I'm not here to bash it.
Take the green one and we'll color match your bow right now.
I told Mike.
You got the
Michael, I told you should have came on this podcast, son. You'd have got you a
three
knife.
of them.
That song was sharp,
dude.
ain't it?
I'm telling you.
And that clip, it's going to be a pain to get it to open it. But when you clamp it on something,
Yeah, it ain't coming off.
it's never come. I mean, you can't. It's not coming off.
So you just you slide it under the first one or the
No, the clip opens up.
I mean, like I said, they are a booger to open. But that clip, and you'll see.
Oh, I was pulling the wrong thing.
You'll just.
It's hard though.
You literally just slide it on your molly or wherever you want to hook it, and then you just push down. And I mean, it
It ain't coming off.
not coming off.
Okay.
Yep. And that was a big deal with the clip deal I was trying to figure out was what kind of clip I could run where you could put it. Cause people throw these in the back of in the back seat of the truck, you know, you don't want to have to worry about losing your knife. So that was a big deal of why I've held these so long. Cause I've actually been using these for 2 years, but I haven't released them to the public till really just now.
Well, I see some, again, YouTube stuff and these elk hunters, you know, they wear one that's kind of around their neck or what have you. I'd rather not
I don't
have
want
one
nothing.
around my neck.
Yeah, I'm out with it on my neck.
But I understand.
But if you want
what they're
to,
doing.
you can use all you do. And the great thing about Kydex, there's 2 screws on here. If you did run this as a neck knife, all you do is undo these 2 screws, turn your clip sideways, put 1 screw back in it, tighten it, and now that dude will run as a neck knife just like that. So you can run this. There's endless. You can
kind of like a little convertible deal.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was another deal with going with Kydex and these screws and this clip. There's not a way that you can't make it comfortable to yourself or work with your system.
So even like that buzzard roost, like on your saddle, if you don't get a bino harness, you just want to put it on your saddle.
Holy cow. Yeah.
He has it like what you just call convertible. You can move that clip. You can run it horizontally like that and just turn your
Have
clip.
it on your,
so you can run it where
strap.
run it where it's up
And 2,
like this.
you
or
got
like that.
3 height settings too. So you can run these screws in different height settings to make the knife sit deeper or higher in whatever pocket or clip you're wanting to put it on.
That's awesome. I appreciate that.
So I know
I hope I don't have to use it very much, but
I hope you do. I want you to clean a bunch of animals with that sucker.
Well, that's what you're thinking about. You're thinking about safety.
I'm thinking about safety. No, I got another Rafter P that I do that with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, look, I'm telling you, when y'all go and when we order some of these, please make sure that we get a couple. They could be orange or even hot pink and orange.
Yep.
For him and Michael to have back there. How many times a day do y'all ask, "Hey, Michael, you seen this is because this is what they have right here. Hey, Michael, you seen my knife? No, I'm looking for mine. You seen mine? No.
But if you've seen our counter, you understand why we need
it. Probably looks about like my shop counter.
Hey, it looks good right now, though.
It looks good right now. It does.
It looks real good.
Nolan coming there, you know. I'm gonna
He's
tell
trying
you
to think of a polite way to be ugly to me.
If you're busy, especially archery, and if you're busy all the time, things will build up. And it's not because you're lazy and don't put it up, but sometimes it is. But for the majority of the time, you know, when you've got that many people in front of you, it's just hard to keep it spick and span.
Oh, I know. Don't walk in my shop right now.
But anyway, Nolan came in there and threw his little thing on that. And I haven't even had that once ask where something was. He explained it to me.
I have all kind of little cardboard boxes that we're just going to break down and throw away. And I got all these cardboard boxes and I have miscellaneous. It could be anything in there. I got an Allen wrench box. I got field point box. I got vein. It's
Got
all.
it all,
It's
yeah.
all lined
because
up.
we don't have an office, so
Yeah.
our office is that white
the archery-
table
yeah,
back
the
there
archery
behind the
got
archery.
two iPads and a computer on it. That's their office.
Yeah, that's
But it gets the job done.
Hey, you making it work.
Multitasking.
That's
Yep.
all that matters.
that's all that matters, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm happy about these. And
I'm excited
And I'll
about
get some
that.
when I get some extras. I'll definitely send some down there to the store, and people can put their hands on them and check them out.
Yep. Get some more testing and stuff like that. Get people to kind of nitpick them
Because
and
this
make
right
them
here,
better.
I'm gonna when I get my saddle, that's
That
I will
matches that
find a
saddle
place
too.
to attach it to that for
That
sure.
green matches.
Yeah.
Matches that
Oh,
stuff.
I didn't even think about it. Look good, shoot good.
Look
there,
good,
too.
shoot good. You got your bow.
And we're going to offer a ton of colors. These are just the colors I have right now. You want blue, we'll do whatever color you want.
Yep.
We get a hold of old Benny and say we need a buzzard roost knife by Rafter P.
Yep.
And if you
And we may have to do a collab and stick some spotted dog emblems on some of them.
we definitely could do that.
Yeah.
Well, I like it.
It's a dope little
I
knife. But yeah, we
appreciate
have
that.
we
Yes,
have the
it
Rafter
is.
P knives. Again, bad. Golly, they're sharp. It'll cut your eyes looking at them. And but the outdoor, the more hunting knife.
I'm super excited about
That's
these.
the hitch and the hiker.
The hiker to come. It
Hiker
won't
to
be
come.
long.
Yeah, but the hitch for sure with the beltless clip.
Yep.
It'll
That's not that hard to
And these-
manipulate that. It's not that hard.
The entire package weighs less than an Ultra View release.
because we waited. We
Yep. It weighs less. So you're talking 3 ounce overall weight with the clip with the sheath. That's not, the knife is 1.8 ounces. So, I mean, no weight. So your guys your saddle guys that you're worried about weight, it's not going to add anything.
no. All right. You got knives to build.
I do.
You got a store to run.
But look, we still
I got a podcast to edit.
and there's new, and we'll get together. That we want to do of course, a lot of this stuff, archery goes from used to go from January to January. Now it goes from October to October, and we got a lot of new products out there that we want to.
You ordered my new bow yet?
No, Zach. Poor Zach. Anyway, we won't go into all that story, but we want to highlight some of that new stuff. Right now in archery, because that's what we do, we wanted all the new stuff in as quickly as we could get. We didn't want to wait till midsummer.
Right.
Some of these guys want to shoot it in the spring, and I'm not saying they necessarily want to go to a tack event, but anyway, we'll get on that next time.
Yep. Well,
I like doing this in the mornings. I kind of like it.
this is only everyone. Here's the bad part about it.
I don't feel so wore out.
Everyone you've ever done, we've gone to Parish, or most ones we'll go to Parish and eat. They
They
ain't-
don't serve breakfast?
They ain't.
I was going to say, until he starts serving breakfast, we ain't going to go eat in the parish in the
Yeah,
morning.
we ain't doing that. But he hasn't been. We're actually me and Jacqueline. We're taking him and Haley there Thursday.
Dude, he's got some.
I'm excited.
Well, first thing you do is just, whatever your favorite beverage might be, Diet Coke or what have you. Just so you keep the duck wraps coming. I don't know what he's famous for, but with me, it's the duck wraps.
We'll get some for sure.
They're good.
I
They're really good.
I love duck wraps too.
He makes filet over this.
It's all right.
I don't know.
I heard he has a elk steak.
Ooh,
Oh.
that's my if
That's good too.
if they
I'm not
have
gonna
that
lie. I
on-
looked the menu up. I don't know if it's the current menu.
It's probably not. It's revolving.
I
And
got
it's fun. It's changing what they serve today, Tuesday. What they serve today, I'm not saying they won't have it Thursday, but it's
Yeah.
a good chance everything that they serve today won't be on the menu Thursday. Not because they run out, it's just they change it. Like
Yeah.
there may be a fish if he's wanting to do. Corey, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, but like if there's I hope I'm being correct about this. There could be a fish or a cut of steak or even the elk, like elk for example. He wants elk, but if he can't get it where it's fresh, because it's no frozen, none of that kind of crap.
Yeah.
If he can't get it where I'm talking about super fresh or at least like aged right, if it ain't ready by Tuesday or Wednesday, it's just
Just
going to have
ain't
to
gonna
wait
be
till
on the
Thursday
menu.
or Friday
That's awesome.
before it goes on the menu. Same
That's
thing
awesome.
with fish. If he can't get the fish that he wants until Friday, it may only be there Friday and Saturday.
You talking about a cat that's mad at a deer?
Oh, dude. Most people, that's the thing though. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh,
Your boy Corey Barr at Parish Restaurant, that son of a gun, he hunts with the best. He shoots a lot, and
and I'm not saying he's compared to the rest of it, he's relatively new.
Yeah.
I guess you would say.
Hunted forever, but he hasn't dive into the world of archery or even deer quite like he has these past few years.
And I'm sure his father-in-law had a lot to do with that. And but boy, he's a good dude, and the enthusiasm in which he has, it's contagious. And he's wired for 220, boy. He loves it. He loves it.
It's fun.
I'm proud for him too.
Yep.
Good for him.
Shout out to Parish Restaurant in Monroe, Louisiana. The absolute best place. I ain't saying that because we're buddies with him, but it really is. This is fine.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm super excited.
The official restaurant sponsor of the Spotted Dog podcast.
It carries no weight, but there it is.
Yeah.
You have it.
That's
you have
right.
it. All right, guys. Thank y'all for coming on. I appreciate it. We got a lot of really cool stuff. I think
Zach, good to see you.
think we still got a couple of the turtle boxes that are incredibly hard to get. The fall or full foliage. Think we still have. We've sold them all. Have we got the second shipment of them in yet?
If it says turtle box, this past weekend wiped us out.
Holy smokes! Okay, well then scratch that.
But no, but they are coming.
Okay,
and also,
the Rangers.
Yes,
in orange.
Maybe in May.
Okay, put my name on the orange one when you get it.
Orange Ranger.
Yep.
I have to look and see what colors we got.
Yeah, and I'll call in there too and check and see.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll find out. But yeah,
I want one for the buggy.
All kind of really cool stuff. The arrows, these arrows we're talking about, they're likely not any more expensive if they are. They're really not that much more expensive than what the other arrows that we were buying, several years ago.
And this kind of goes along with the sights. I mean, what was an inexpensive arrow anymore is, in the grand scheme of things, they're expensive.
Yeah. Well, but you're not paying $30 an arrow. If you're paying $10 or $12 an arrow now, those Eastons, they're what, $14 an arrow, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know what the HLRs, I know they're going to be a little bit more, but
or
the FMJs. But still, it's not like you're paying, going from $10 to $12 an arrow to $30 an arrow. And then same thing with the saddles. That's one of those you just buy once, cry once kind of thing. They're not cheap.
Well, before, when it was consumer direct, if you got, man, this thing is uncomfortable, well, you ate that one.
Yeah.
And then you go get now you can come try it on and say, man, I don't like that one, or I like that one. And
we're the only place that you can come to, or around us, that you can come, and we have a tree that you can try.
We were the first ones anywhere around here to have this tree.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you want to come check it out, this is the only place to come to. Spotted Dog in Columbia, Louisiana, just 25, 30 minutes south of Monroe. But we got a tree. You can try all the different sticks, platforms, saddles, ropes, accessories. We'll pull it out of the package. We'll try it, and that way you can check it all out right then and be able to take it back with you. Yeah. Take it home, and then you buy. When you leave with it, you're getting what you want.
That's right.
For sure.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, free shipping on orders over. Are we still doing $99? You got on to me last time. You said we're going to do $100. We're at 99. You corrected me.
Whatever. We're not all about making money. We'll make friends. That's what
we're making friends. So we're going to leave it at $99 or more. But free shipping on all orders at SpottedDogSportingGoods.com. Over $99. We have the arrows. We got the bows, the saddles. We'll be getting the Rafter P hitches pretty soon.
Yep.
Pretty excited about that.
And I also have the free shipping code for all the listeners. Code Spotted Dog on the website. Get you free shipping.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, go to RafterPCustomKnives.com. Use code Spotted Dog and get you a little freebie there. So, all right, you got to head south. I got to head west. You got to head west.
Yep.
I
enjoyed it.
Time to go to work now.
Time to go to west. Shoot, this was work for me. I'm done for the day.
I'm telling you, my voice. A lot of people don't want to hear me talk, but I'm telling you, whatever I got into day before yesterday jumped all over me, boy.
Was it the crappie?
No.
Oh, what?
Had to do with my throat.
Oh, okay. I got you.
No, I didn't jump on a lot of crappie. That was my wife.
Yeah.
She
She smacked them.
Yeah, she did.
All right. Thank y'all for listening. See y'all next time. Bye.